Stadium in the moments before Game 2 of the 2000 World Series. Last night was comfortable and warm. This will be uncomfortable and cold. 40-degree temperatures, the wind chills may be beneath that. The fans are nonetheless here, and the game is nonetheless en route. In a moment, we'll be going to Tim McCarver and Joe Buck and Bob Brenly and getting ready for the ceremonial first pitch from the Yankee immortal Whitey Ford. But once again, it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce you now to a man whose voice echoes through the dreams of 100 million baseball fans, the voice of Yankee Stadium, Mr. Bob Shepard.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise? In the wake of the USS Cole, there is no better time for this country to value its democracy and freedom. Tonight, we remember the men and women aboard the USS Cole who lost their lives. Joining us behind second base to present the colors for tonight's game, please welcome the United States Navy Honor Guard. At the conclusion of America the Beautiful, Challenger, USA's living symbol of freedom, and non-releasable bald eagle, cared for by the American Eagle Foundation, will soar to the pitcher's mound from center field. And now, please direct your attention to the microphone behind home plate, and let's welcome fan favorite Robert Merrill as he sings America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for gracious skies, for amber fields of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's ceremonial first pitches, we're proud to welcome two Yankee legends and Hall of Famers who are no strangers to the Fall Classic. Please welcome the Scooter, Phil Rizzuto, and the chairman of the board, Whitey Ford.
Whitey Ford still has the breaking pitch, holder of perhaps an unbreakable record, 10 World Series victories. In a moment, Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly with the play-by-play of Game 2 of the 2000 World Series. I'm Keith Olbermann. Stand by for fun.
Take taking on the New York Yankees, with the Yankees up 1-0 after that thriller last night. Welcome to Yankee Stadium and now to our booth. I'm Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and Bob Brenly in just a moment. Well, there was a 44-year layoff between Subway Series. Last night, Game 1 was worth the wait, and we waited a little bit. 4 hours, 51 minutes after we began. In the 12th inning, it was Jose Vizcaíno, of all players, who ended the game with a 2-out base hit again in the 12th inning. And you can dissect that game any one of a number of ways. One thing that should not be overlooked, Tim, is that at bat by Paul O'Neill in the 9th inning.
In the 9th inning that led to the tie of the ball game, Joe, I don't think it's going to go down in World Series lore as famous as the catch by Willie Mays against Vic Wertz in the 1954 World Series. However, in New York right now, it's going down as the at-bat. A 10-pitch at-bat with 1 out and nobody on. Paul O'Neill facing Armando Benitez last night. With the count 1-2, Paul O'Neill fouls off a pitch. Another pitch. After taking a ball, what happens? Another ball, and he fouls off one after the other. You get the feeling that had Paul O'Neill faced 50 fastballs by Benitez, he would have fouled 50 off the other way and then drawn the walk.
He draws the walk. He scores the tying run, driven in by Knobloch, and the Yankees win it in 12. The guy who kept chucking up one pitch after another, Benitez, and right now the Mets at least have to be concerned with the way he's been pitching.
Well, you know, Joe, nothing can be more deflating than blowing a lead late in the ball game when you think you're going to win a game. Armando Benitez was automatic during the regular season. He established a franchise high with 41 saves, but he has been anything but a sure thing in the postseason this year. We asked Bobby Valentine about the confidence level of his closer, and he says, I'm more concerned with his physical well-being than his mental well-being. He's had problems with fluid on his right knee throughout the year. He had it drained 3 days ago. Bobby Valentine, however, does have a plan B. The all-time left-handed saves leader, John Franco, is available in that Mets bullpen.
All right, raise your hand if you know the Italian word for love. Amore. They love their Mets. They love their Yankees here in New York. Subway Series, Game 2. It's yours next on Fox. To Yankee Stadium. The world champions are on the field. Right in the middle of it all is 5-time Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens. The Rocket takes on this lineup for the Mets, brought to you by Coors Light. They lead it off with Timo Perez in right field. Edgardo Alfonso bats second. At second, Mike Piazza, who has owned Roger Clemens, hits third. Robin Ventura cleans up. Then Todd Zeile at first. Benny Agbayani hitting in the number 6 spot. Lenny Harris, the DH tonight, with Jay Payton in center and Mike Bordick in short and batting ninth. The defense for the Yankees. Same way they started last night, with Justice, Williams, and O'Neill in the outfield left to right. No errors in 62 career postseason games for Bernie Williams out in center. It's Vizcaíno again at second base. Why not? He had 4 hits in Game 1. And the battery of Jorge Posada and Roger Clemens.
Roger with a 13-8 record this year. He is 118 games over 500, a 260-142 record for his career. However, he has not pitched well against the New York Mets in interleague play in the World Series back in 1986. Roger has a 2-4 record and a 7.75 earned run average, by far the worst against any major league team.
Well, one of the stories within this big story of the Subway Series is Roger Clemens having to face again Mike Piazza. We beamed on July 8th. Here's what he said going in about his approach with Piazza at the plate.
And I'm going to go out there and battle, and I expect the same from him. And you know, it's my means of trying to get certain hitters out, to try and get in there. I don't have to, it's not about intimidation or trying to hurt anyone of any shape or form, but you know, I'm going to still be aggressive and try and pitch my game. And like I said, the intent was never to try and hurt anyone.
Joe, shortly after that incident on July 8th, I talked to Roger Clemens. And if you remember, in the press conference the day after on July 9th, of course, Piazza missing the All-Star game, Piazza said that he doesn't respect Roger Clemens anymore. And I interviewed Roger the week after that, and Roger said, and there was no angst in his voice, no anger. He said, I don't care whether Mike Piazza respects me or not. I'm not out there to get a hitter's respect.
Would you be surprised if he ran one inside on him here in the first inning?
I think if I were Clemens, that's exactly what I would do in the first 3 or 4 pitches, run the ball inside.
And I think Mike Piazza, like all other hitters that face Roger Clemens, really don't have a problem with him pitching inside. It's when he pitches inside above the shoulders.
Timo Perez will lead off for the Mets. Edgardo Alfonzo and then Mike Piazza with the bigger picture. The Yankees lead this best-of-7 series 1-0. And they have a surefire Hall of Famer on the mound pitching to Timo Perez, and he hits the outside corner for strike 1. As has become ritual with Roger Clemens prior to starts here at Yankee Stadium, rubbing the forehead of the Babe, his monument out in Monument Park. 1 ball, 1 strike, 97 miles per hour to Timo Perez. The numbers in his career against the Mets, the 2-4 record. This season, 1-1 with an ERA of over 7. Strike 2 on Perez. This crowd already less animated than it was here the first few pitches of last night. Now they get into it with 2 strikes on the hitter. 2-2. Clemens making his 4th World Series start, and within those 4 starts, 3 against the Mets. 2-86, and this one here tonight. 2-2. 1 away.
Another 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So you know the stuff is still there with Roger Clemens. Turned 38 this year. He's gotten away from mistakes with sliders. 2 of the 3 home runs Mike Piazza has hit against Clemens in his career have been sliders. And that killer splitter, about 90 miles an hour. It's almost as fast as a lot of guys' fastballs.
Alfonzo watches a 96-mile-per-hour pitch fall into the strike zone for strike 1. Alfonzo has a 12-game hitting streak alive in the postseason, dating back to last year's NLCS. 1 out of 6 with an RBI in last night's game. Not up there, Edgardo. 98 miles per hour. It's 0-2. Roger Clemens coming off a 15 strikeout performance. Game 4 of the League Championship Series in Seattle. A 1-hit shutout. Still 0-2 on Alfonzo.
Joe, Roger Clemens can be dominating when he has any one of his 3 pitches working well, but in that start against Seattle, he had all 3 weapons at his disposal.
I wonder why he's shaking his head right there. He looks dissatisfied about something. Can't be dissatisfied about that velocity.
98. He struck out Perez on a 98-mile-per-hour pitch. That last one missed to Alfonzo. It's 1-2. 2 strikeouts. The splitter. Try to play tag down the first baseline, and the putout 2-3. And now as Mike Piazza walks in, we go back to July 8th. The second game of day-night action between the Mets and Yankees. A day game at Shea Stadium won by Dwight Gooden. The night game won by Roger Clemens that night. He went on to a 4-2 victory. Pitching into the 8th. Inside corner, strike one. Piazza, a harmless single in last night's game. 0-2.
Two fastballs on the inside corner.
Piazza 7 out of 12 in his career against Clemens with 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. The barrel of the bat comes back at Roger Clemens, and he fires the bat back toward Piazza, who is going down the first baseline. That is all Roger Clemens there. A moment started by, created by Clemens. And thankfully not much more on the field than these two benches emptying, and the players now in a mode of standing around and trying to sort out what just happened. That was surprising.
Joe, there were a lot of people who defended Roger Clemens when he hit Mike Piazza in the head. I was one of them. In my view right now, Roger Clemens is dead wrong. You can't take up the better part of the bat, the fat part of the bat, and fire it into foul territory near Piazza. Obviously, Piazza didn't mean to do that. My gosh, that's a blatant act. Foolish, foolish. Man, that is, I'll tell you, that is a blatant act right there. Piazza has every right to be upset. Wow.
So Roger Clemens, in essence, throws a jagged, a pointed, sharp piece of wood that ends up, what, 2 feet away from Mike Piazza?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Piazza was looking toward Clemens when the bat was thrown over into foul territory. Had Mike had his head down, running down the first baseline, he may have run right into that barrel of the bat.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Defensive swing, and it's Vizcaíno to his left, and a perfect first inning for Clemens. Roger Clemens saying my fault as he exits, heads toward the Yankee dugout. Piazza and the Mets go in order in the first. Series MVP for the Mets on the mound, Mike Hampton. The starting lineup for the Yankees brought to you by Coors Light. Same lineup as last night. Chuck Knobloch, the DH. Derek Jeter batting second and short. David Justice, who's been hot in this postseason for the Yankees, hitting third. Then it's Williams, Tino Martinez, and Posada. O'Neill, Brocious, and Vizcaíno bringing up the rear. The defense for the New York Mets. It's Piazza behind the plate tonight. Last night, Pratt made the start. And Mike Bordick has been an anchor at short in his postseason career. And here's Hampton dealing with Knobloch. And missing down and in with ball 1. Knobloch, the DH tonight. Slated to start in the field as the second baseman. Game 3 happens on Tuesday night. 2-0.
Joe, you use that word anchor for Mike Bordick. You can use it for Mike Hampton also. 15-10 on the year, an excellent 3.14 ERA. There's Mike Bordick. 18 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. That includes a complete game shutout of the Cardinals to clinch the National League Championship Series. a few days ago.
Into the strike zone, 2-1. Mike Hampton opened the season for the New York Mets in Japan with a 5-3 loss to the Cubs. As Knobloch hits it to center, and Payton, a nice catch, one away.
Fine play by Jay Payton. He plays a shallow center field, and that allows him to make a play like this. Nicely done.
Jay Payton, who has suffered one injury after another to his arms, 2 right elbow operations, 1 surgery on his left shoulder, and even when he couldn't throw, and we talked about this during the National League Championship Series as Jeter digs in, Payton was unable to throw, but he would track balls in the outfield during batting practice in the minor leagues, which really improved his work defensively, picking the ball up off the bat as Jeter takes a strike from Hampton.
Talked about the numbers for Mike Hampton. 22-4 for the Houston Astros last year. Coming to the Mets in the offseason. And obviously he will be a free agent at the end of this postseason.
Well, since a slow start to the season after May 3rd, he was absolutely phenomenal. 15-7 with a 2.38 ERA. 29 starts, and in 21 of them, he gave up 2 earned runs or less.
The 1-1 to Jeter. 2 balls and a strike.
He wasn't like that the first time you saw him this year, was he?
No, indeed, he was not at the Tokyo Dome. Of course, all the players were having problems with the mound and the batter's box over there, but Hampton with 9 walks in 5 innings pitched. Gave up only 2 runs to the Cubs, however, showing his mental toughness out there on the mound, but was pitching out of a hole the entire ball game.
A hole with loose dirt. 2 balls and a strike, and Jeter comes up empty, 2-2.
So speaking of loose dirt, what about the loose dirt that Bobby Valentine has said and made public? Matter of fact, he said it at the press conference today, that caused some of those weird hops in last night's ball game.
You can see it down there around home plate right now. The area immediately around home plate where Derek Jeter is standing as a pitch sinks down and in. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Bobby Valentine talking about the grounds crew just dumping whatever substance that is, whether it's diamond dust that they use to dry a wet field or whatever it may be. The kind of odd bounces that baseballs get out of that substance when they leave home plate. Jeter's gone, 2 out. Keith Olbermann is down by the Yankee dugout. Already some fireworks down there, Keith.
Indeed, Joe. A little follow-up to that event at the end of the top of the first as Roger Clemens walked off with his arms around the shoulder of home plate umpire Charlie Relaford, then back into the clubhouse. Yankee players were peeking in on the replay. The uniform response was wow. Advanced down here the theory that perhaps in the heat of the moment Clemens might have thought Piazza had let the whole bat fly, deliberately or otherwise. Mixed opinions. Coach Lee Mazzilli said he didn't think that was so, but nobody could be sure except for Roger Clemens himself, and obviously we don't know right now. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Keith. Roger Clemens and home plate umpire Charlie Relaford talking about that incident on their way, at least Clemens' way off the field, as Justice takes a ball in the dirt. I mean, at that point, Clemens is no longer holding a bat.
No.
That is,
no.
It's basically a weapon.
Spear. It's a pointed end of the bat.
A scary moment, and thankfully, the bat, the jagged end of the bat, missed Mike Piazza and everybody else for that matter. It could have been in its way.
It could, I think, even have been explained had Roger thrown it toward the Met dugout, perhaps, but away from Mike Piazza. The fact that he threw it so closely to Piazza was what the alarming thing about the incident was. Man. Piazza disbelieving that, and understandably so.
The count's gone to 3-0 on Justice, and now ball 4, a 2-out walk, and the first base runner of the night. That'll bring in Bernie Williams. The numbers this postseason: last night 0 for 4, was walked twice, once intentionally. You can go back through last night's game, the 12-inning affair, the 4-3 Yankee win, a 4-hour, 51-minute game. And there are so many different points to last night's game that you just forget about. And we were in Bobby Valentine's office before the game, and of course, when you're the losing manager in that situation, those different points are a lot harder to forget. As Bernie Williams takes ball 1 down and in. But the way those late innings unfolded, the extra innings unfolded, the missed chances for the Yankees, really from the 9th inning on, when they tied it in the 9th, had a chance to win it. Missed opportunities in the 10th, the 11th. Paul O'Neill, one of the main reasons why the Yankees won that game last night, and his contribution was a big walk with 1 out, nobody on in the 9th inning. 2 balls, no strikes now on Bernie Williams, and that's 6 in a row out of the strike zone by Mike Hampton. Hampton falling behind these hitters in the 1st inning. And now it's 3-0 on Williams.
Joe, I feel like a gossip columnist. Back to the dirt. If the dirt indeed, that dirt around home plate, is the same as the dirt last night, it's really going to help Mike Hampton out because he gets so many ground balls. 2.5 ground balls for every fly ball out, second only to Greg Maddux for ground ball outs in the National League.
That's 8 straight out of the strike zone and back-to-back walks with 2 out to Justice and Williams. And Tino Martinez will bat here in the 1st inning. That's something that did not happen all of Game 5 in the National League Championship Series against St. Louis, when he went the distance. The scouting report on Mike Hampton.
Excuse me, Joe. Everything off the fastball, that means a straight change is a very, very good pitch, but he'll rarely throw it to left-handed batters. He must come inside to the 3 left-handed batters the Yankees have in their lineup, Martinez, Justice, and O'Neill. And he's increasingly using that changeup to right-handers.
Tino Martinez takes ball 1. And now a visit from Dave Wallace, the pitching coach for the Mets.
9 straight balls thrown by Mike Hampton.
I think more than anything else, this is just a meeting to change the rhythm as you get a look from catcher Cam, worn by Mike Piazza in the ball game tonight. Let's get Mike Hampton off the mound, let him take a deep breath, regroup, and start over again.
Tino Martinez has had a terrific postseason for the Yankees, hitting .360 after a down offensive year during the regular season. 2 on, 2 out. No score in the 1st inning. 1-1. Martinez 2 out of 6 in last night's game. Most thought Hampton would start Game 1. But it was Al Leiter last night who pitched very well. Now strike 2 on Tino Martinez.
Bobby Valentine's going to argue that, and he's got a good point, but now the home plate umpire says it hit Tino Martinez in the knee. Had that ball bounced up and Tino makes the play, then he doesn't give the ball a chance to roll fair, as we saw the ball from Jay Payton. But since it hits his leg, it's automatically a foul ball, as you can see more clearly from catcher Cam.
A chance for the Yankees here in the 1st inning after back-to-back walks. 2 on, 2 out. And a 1-2 pitch coming to Martinez. Opposite way, base hit. Here comes Justice. Agbayani's throwing to 3rd, and the Yankees strike 1st.
This is the first time the Yankees have ever scored against Mike Hampton. The pitch was down, but too much of the fat part of the plate. And as a lot of the Yankee hitters do, they go the opposite way with 2 strikes. in a defensive mode, and Justice scores without a play from Agbayani.
Two two-out walks lead to trouble for Hampton, and now Posada takes ball one. Posada coming off his best offensive season. One ball, one strike as the first base umpire, Jeff Kellogg, brings up Posada on that check swing. Now it's Bernie Williams and Tino Martinez, the base runners. One. Mike Hampton had gone 19 consecutive innings in the postseason without giving up a run before that two-out RBI hit by Martinez. Two balls and a strike.
You see Hampton continuing to work on that baseball, going to his mouth, frequently out there on the mound. He lost five of his first 7 decisions this year, leading speculation that perhaps he was not a good cold weather pitcher. It has dropped considerably here tonight. The wind very chilly.
The 3-1 to Posada, in for a strike, and the count's full. .49 degrees is the temperature at the start. Last night 68 degrees at the start. Bernie Williams, the runner at second. Tino Martinez on at first with 2 out in the first, and the Yankees up by a run. Runners go, and a ground ball up the middle, base hit. Williams will score without a play. Payton drops it in center, throws toward third base, and it's 2-0 Yankees.
Hey, you wonder where Jay Payton was throwing that ball. Clearly, the play was at second base. Posada not a fast runner. You hear that often, where a hitter goes with the pitch. You can see that ball on the outside corner. Posada doesn't try to pull it, but rifles it by the diving Alfonso. Jay Payton dropped the ball and then fires it toward third. Even after dropping it, if he throws it to second base, perhaps that holds Posada to first base. But by going to third, Posada into second easily.
It's an RBI single, E8, an error on Payton, who committed 6 during the regular season. And it's second and third, 2 out for Paul O'Neill. Five RBIs this postseason for O'Neill. Rick White already getting loose for the Mets out in their bullpen. First inning and a 2-0 Yankee lead. Strike 2 on O'Neill. Bobby Valentine and the Mets down a game in this series, down 2 runs in the first inning of game 2. And even with Hampton, a 15-game winner during the regular season, and the NLCS most valuable player, during a long first inning, he's got action in the bullpen.
Piazza wants it up.
He gets it up, and O'Neill lays off ball one.
You could see Piazza give the fastball sign and then point the palm up and kind of wiggle the fingers. Pretty clear that he wanted it upstairs. That's a little dangerous with a runner on at second base, because when you motion like that, you tell the guy on second that it's going to be a fastball. It's the only pitch you locate.
Second and third, 2 out. O'Neill strikes out. His struggles continue. That's 2 strikeouts in the first inning for Hampton. 2 runs in the first inning for the Yankees. Roger Clemens back to the hill. Had one of the most eventful 1-2-3 first innings in recent memory because of this. He goes back to the hill, second inning, game 2, 2-0 Yankees. Plenty of first inning action here at Yankee Stadium. Game 2, the Yankees got 2 runs. And now we wait for Robin Ventura to dig in, with Zeal and Agbayani to follow. Middle part of the order for the Mets, who went in order in the first. Perez struck out. Alfonso struck out. Piazza grounded out. And that good fastball from Clemens for strike 1. Broken bat, ground ball back to Clemens, and the first 4 Mets have been retired in order. Roger Clemens making his 16th postseason start here tonight. You can go back to 1990. American League Championship Series action against Oakland. It was a 4-and-out sweep by the A's. And it was Roger Clemens being ejected in the second inning by home plate umpire Terry Cooney. And another flare of his temper in the first inning of this 2000 World Series. Here is Zeal, and there's strike 1.
Until further review, that was an indefensible act. I mean, how do you defend something like that?
1 out with the bases empty, and Zeal, strike 2.
You talk about totally unprepared for that happening. A shocked 57,000 people here. Whether you're a Yankee fan or a Met fan, it just stunned this crowd and others. It's almost like the Yankee fans don't know what to do now.
On 0-2, Zeal watches ball 1. With that odd beginning to this game, it has certainly taken the life out of this crowd here at Yankee Stadium.
No question.
I mean, no comparison to last night with the energy coming out of the seats here at Yankee Stadium. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Zeal. 2-2. One out, bases empty, and now ball 3. You have to ask the question if during the regular season Roger Clemens did that, what he did back in the first inning, if he would have stayed in the game after that act.
I think that's a reasonable question.
And I think the answer is no.
No, I agree.
Three balls, 2 strikes, and Zeal lines a base hit into right center field. Let's go down to Keith Olbermann. Keith.
Joe, pertinent to what you've been talking about. Last year on the travel day of the World Series between Atlanta and New York, Roger Clemens, although completely provoked by a fan outside after the Yankee workout, really went to town on him. They were nose to nose and finger to finger. There's videotape of the incident, which has never been broadcast because it was so unfair. It did not show the provocation by the fan, but it was nearly a fist fight in the parking lot outside Yankee Stadium at just about this time last year. The Roger Clemens record, if you will, is rather long. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Keith, 1 on, 1 out here for Agbayani. Always known as a high-intensity pitcher, as Agbayani fouls away strike one. You can go back to the '86 World Series when he was taken out of Game 6 in the 7th inning. His then manager, John McNamara, was quoted as saying that Roger Clemens had asked out of that game. And when that message was relayed to Clemens, he immediately stormed into the manager's office. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's obviously a temper there, and there is an intensity there that can work both for and against him. Most of the time for him. These incidents we're talking about now, definitely against him, and an embarrassing moment in the first inning of this game.
Over the line when he threw the barrel of the bat about 2 feet in front of Mike Piazza. Way over the line.
1 ball, 1 strike on Agbayani with a runner at first, 1 out, and Clemens gives a look over at Zeal.
You know, there are a lot of intense athletes. Bob Gibson, the most intense athlete that I ever encountered. But there is a limit to the intensity.
Strike 2 on Agbayani.
You know, throughout it all, guys, I'm a little surprised that Mike Piazza wasn't more forceful in his charge out towards the mound.
Maybe.
I mean, after a guy's been hit in the helmet with a pitch from the guy on the mound tonight, the guy then throws the barrel of the bat at you as you run up the first baseline. I'm not advocating that anybody should do anything like that, but I'm surprised that Piazza was able to keep his cool as much as he did.
Agbayani takes ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Roger Clemens, who has won 5 Cy Young Awards. 86, 87, 91 with the Red Sox. 97, 98 with Toronto. Another look over at Zeal. 260 career victories. Number 8 on the all-time strikeout list with over 3,500. 6 ERA titles. Number 2 all-time. Lefty Grove won 9. He won the clincher in the World Series last year, Game 4 over Atlanta. And he puts away Agbayani for the second out here in the second.
You see the tail end of that play we were talking about as Clemens fires that bat over toward Mike Piazza. At that point, I'm surprised Piazza just didn't break into a dead sprint for the mound. Charlie Relaford, the home plate umpire, gets between the two. A lot of words are exchanged, but fortunately nothing more.
So 1 on, 2 out now, and Lenny Harris, who makes his first start in this postseason. So far, he's 0 for 3 since the curtain came up on October baseball for the Mets. Didn't play in last night's game, and he bats with a runner at first, 2 down, and an 0-1 count.
Reobtained by the Mets this year. Lenny, formerly a Met back in 1998.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Of course, Lenny Harris, one of the best pinch hitters in the history of baseball. Bobby Valentine said, what is DHing other than pinch hitting 4 times in a ball game?
A number of choices, and while many people thought it might be Darrell Hamilton in the lineup tonight for the Mets, Bobby Valentine said the closest, as Harris goes the opposite way down the line and left. It's a foul ball by a matter of feet. Lenny Harris missed tying this game with an opposite field home run.
The ball tailing. Lenny watching. Lenny should have known from last night's ball game, don't watch, run. That's something the Met Ball Club, that should be one of the signs in the spring training clubhouse next year. Don't umpire, run until you're out.
A ball and 2 strikes on Harris. Harris is gone, and that's 4 strikeouts for Clemens. The other option was Bubba Trammell for Bobby Valentine. He goes with Harris, who ends the top of the second. 2-0 Yankees.
The Arc de Triomphe? No. Look how close this ball was to Lenny Harris. Watch it as it just clears the foul pole or fair pole in left field. Boy, that was close.
And then a guy in a yellow jacket catches the ball, standing right behind the fair pole. Appropriate color. Here's Brocious leading it off in the bottom of the second. 2-0 Yankees.
He's in the witness protection program. They put him in that yellow coat in that seat so you can't see him.
0-2 on Brocious.
Might be in the fan protection program.
A rough first inning, but Hampton at least limited the damage. The two that Hampton walked in the first inning both came around to score. That misses inside, and that's such a vital pitch for Mike Hampton during the course of the game. That pitch just on or just off the inside corner.
The Yankees a much more patient lineup than Hampton is used to facing. They are not as wild of swingers as the Cardinals.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Brocious. Hitting instructor for the Yankees, Chris Chambliss, interviewing for different managerial openings across baseball. The 2-2, and we'll do it again. Al Leiter, last night's starter, was in line for the victory until that 9th inning when Armando Benitez blew a 1-run lead. Sac fly by Knobloch. Vizcaíno won it in the 12th.
Al Leiter's even animated watching the game.
He is a unique individual.
He really is.
Even on the day that he pitches, he'll come into the ballpark. Last night was playing around, coming into the Mets clubhouse. There are his numbers from last night. 7 strong innings, only 2 runs on 5 hits and 7 strikeouts. And as has been the case for Leiter throughout his postseason career, no decision. That's down the left field line's got a chance. Is it fair? In the corner, it is, and it's gone. Home run, Brocious. 3-0 Yankees.
We talked last night how Scott Brocious was an inside hitter. He gets an inside belt-high fastball that didn't sink until it got over the fence.
Now it's Vizcaíno who takes ball 1 for Scott Brocious. That is his first home run since a drought that started back on September the 11th. 7 career postseason home runs. 98 World Series MVP. Now the count 2-0 on Vizcaíno, and Hampton really struggling to find any sort of a groove here in the early innings. Nobody on or out. A run in, and the home run by Brocious and a 2-0 pitch. 2-1. Now 2-2.
Jose Vizcaíno signed 14 years ago by the Los Angeles Dodgers for $4,600.
Counts full, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Jose from the Dominican Republic as Chuck Knobloch waits on deck. Joe mentioned during the league championship series that 25% of major league players are Hispanic. About 10% come from the Dominican Republic.
To the left side, and Bordick dropped it.
And
Would
that's
have taken a good throw to get him, Tim, but there's an error by a guy we came in tonight talking about how steady he's been defensively in his postseason career.
Yeah, we're talking about Vizcaíno being from the Dominican Republic. That's an error in any language.
So a home run, now an error. And a visit on the mound from Bobby Valentine as he goes out from the dugout. Coming up tonight and every night, it's the 11 p.m. Regional Sports Report on Fox Sports Net. 30 minutes of nightly sports news completely dedicated to local home teams. Nightly only on Fox Sports Net. Check local listings for the start time in your area.
Bobby Valentine rarely makes trips to the mound unless he's talking strategy. And it appeared that that's what he was talking with his middle infielders. Todd Zeal had some input. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, makes all the pitching changes for the Mets.
Check on the runner, Vizcaíno. Rick White was loosening in the first inning. No action at the moment for the Mets in their bullpen. Knobloch lined out to center his first time up. There's Vizcaíno on base again. This time on an error by Bordick. On the outside corner for strike 1. Knobloch so far 0 for 5 in this series. But last night scored a run and drove home a run with a sac fly in the 9th inning to tie the game. 1 ball, 1 strike. Talking to Bobby Valentine in his office before the game. Talking about the Mets and their postseason history. Now the 69 Miracle Mets lost the first game. Came back to win that series over the Orioles. The 86 Mets lost the first game. He said, I think they lost the first 2, didn't they? Yes, they did. He said, I don't think we want to do that. But here they are in the second inning, trailing 3-0. And it's a 2 ball, 1 strike count on Knobloch with Vizcaíno at first and nobody out.
Good hit and run situation here. Speed on it first.
A late break and the throw down have got him by 15 feet. One away.
Evidently we picked up the hit and run, but Chuck Knobloch didn't. He's got to swing the bat to protect Vizcaíno. Clearly Vizcaíno running as part of the hit and run, but the hitter's got to protect the runner. You got to follow through, even throw the bat at the ball if you have to.
You can see the reaction by Knobloch, frustrated with himself for laying off that pitch, and now takes ball 4.
Third walk by Hampton. And he just does not have it here in the first 2 innings.
And once again, Hampton repeatedly blowing on his throwing hand. That cut fastball, the 2-seam fastball, the changeup, all pitches that require a great deal of feel out there on the mound. 49-degree temperatures, a very cold wind blowing here at Yankee Stadium. He's obviously having problem with the grip on that baseball.
1 on, 1 out. The weather wasn't all that great in Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. I remember talking to you, Tim, prior to that game, wondering if it might affect Mike Hampton. Boy, it didn't affect him that night, as he went the distance, going 9, no runs on 3 hits, struck out 8, walked only 1. But it's a different story here tonight. Already thrown 50 pitches. He and the Mets trail 3-0 as Jeter takes ball 1.
Mike Hampton trying to get a grip on his pitches. while Roger Clemens tries to get a grip on his emotions.
A homer, an error. That man erased. Vizcaíno out stealing. And now 2-0 on Jeter. Again, it bears repeating, and you guys were just talking about it. The New York Yankees, one of the most patient teams in baseball when they're at the plate with a bat in their hands. Base hit right field by Jeter. Perez can't make the play cleanly. Over to third is Knobloch. Into second is Jeter. Knobloch to the plate. He is out. And that's the second out of the inning, as the Yankees have lost 2 on the bases here in the second.
Timo Perez makes an error in right center field, allowing Jeter to go to second. But recovering in time is the always dependable Alfonso to get Chuck Knobloch. With 2 outs, you can understand Willie Randolph sending Knobloch home. Not with 1 out, however, and Justice coming up. Knobloch didn't slow down, going to third all the way. Now he has to depend on Randolph. Randolph overly aggressive right there.
Now it's Jeter at second with 2 out. And ball 1 to Justice.
From catcher cam, Mike Piazza, one of quite a few. Now Knobloch slamming things in the Yankee dugout.
Runner at second, 2 out, and Justice goes after a pitch out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Mike Piazza, one of a growing number of catchers who wear their masks while they make the tag play at home plate. 20 years ago, that was unheard of, because when you keep the mask on, that alters your peripheral vision, and you don't have the vision. That mask is made for the vision between the catcher and the pitcher. And for the most part, that's it.
To the right side, Alfonso keeps it on the infield, gets the out, and the inning is over. In the inning for the Yankees, after all that, the only run they get, the leadoff home run. Am I supposed to talk over that? A home run by Brocious. How about that, though? 2 runners lost on the bases by the Yankees, and after 2, 3-0 world champs. Well, the Yankees have to wonder what might have been in that second inning. An inning where they could have taken some of the edge off this Game 2 of the World Series, and the Mets have to feel fortunate to be down by only 3. 3-0 Yankees, 3rd inning. Payton, Bordick, and Perez for the Mets against Roger Clemens. 2 runners lost on the bases in that bottom of the second.
Joe, I don't think I recall worse base running in the first 2 games of a World Series than the first 2 games that we have seen. Last night by the Mets, and tonight in the second inning by the Yankees.
But they lead 3-0 as Payton comes up empty, strike 2. Three errors already for the Mets in this game. Payton has 1, Bordick 1, and Perez has 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Payton gets a piece of it. Bordick will be next.
Talking about that Chuck Knobloch play, sometimes a third base coach will wave a runner to third base and then hold him up once he gets to third base. But in doing so, he must move down the line. If he stays in the box, it's too late to hold him up. I was watching Jeter go to second base, and I thought I saw peripherally Randolph waving Knobloch home. It could be that he held him up, but perhaps held him up too late, and that's why Knobloch was mad in the dugout. Here's the look. Knobloch going to third. Now, Randolph will appear in the right of your screen, right there. You see he's in the box. So if he held up Knobloch, it's too late to hold him up, because he had waved him to third, and the runner can't determine whether it's to third or around third going to home.
The 2-2 to Payton is fouled back and out of play. 99 miles per hour from Roger Clemens. The Mets have only one hit, the one-out single by Zeal in the second. The Yankees got 2 runs in the first and only 1 in the second on the home run by Brocious. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Payton's gone, and strikeout number 5 for Clemens.
Overpowering Jay Payton. Some pitchers you have to get the ball up, as the Yankees are trying to do with Mike Hampton. With Clemens, as you can see, you have to make him get it down.
Now Bordick fouls it back and out of play. This season, in the last 2 seasons with the Yankees, you could get a pretty good early read on Roger Clemens and determine what sort of night it was going to be. 5 subway cars, meaning 5 strikeouts so far for Roger Clemens. The early returns are in, and Roger Clemens has brought great stuff to the park with him tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bordick. One out, bases empty, and Bordick strike 2.
What makes Clemens so difficult, the eye level. You have to adjust to the high fastball above the letters, or right at the letters, and the splitter below the knees. Like a bobblehead doll hitter up there.
And it's Bordick in the batter's box now, set up at a ball and 2 strikes. Little pop up behind short for Jeter. 2 out. Next Sunday, catch the best professional figure skaters in the world as they compete in the Grand Slam Super Teams of Skating. Brian Boitano, Katarina Witt, Brian Orser, and Nicole Bobek headline a star-studded field of Olympic and world champions. Round 1 of the Grand Slam Super Teams of Skating next Sunday right here on Fox. 2 out with Perez coming to the plate. And that's a good sign for Clemens, getting out in front of all 9 hitters tonight. And it continues with Perez, strike 1. Perez in the running for the MVP of that National League Championship Series. The 5-game series with St. Louis. Easy for Tino Martinez, and the Mets go in order. So far, Perez not much of a factor in this series. Roger Clemens tonight is on. Mike Hampton still searching for it. Bottom of the 3rd, 3-0 Yankees. This game goes to the bottom of the 3rd inning, and Mike Hampton hoping that this is the half inning where he finds it. Base runners all over for the Yankees so far, and it's Bernie Williams to start the 3rd. Then Tino Martinez and Jorge Posada. 3-0 Yankees. They lead this series 1-0 and strike 1 on Williams, who walked and scored his first time up. Switch hitting center fielder waits for the 0-1. Ball and a strike. We talked about Hampton's velocity in that game 5 when he pitched the complete game shutout. He was 92, 93, and he does not have that good fastball here tonight. Working with a little extra rest. Missing outside, the count 2-1, but he's been 87, 88. I haven't seen him break 90 yet tonight.
Velocity only one of the ways you get hitters out, but with Mike Hampton the other night during the clincher, there was that late pop. You could tell by the reaction of the Cardinal hitters.
Williams gets under it to center field. And he's the first out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. In the crowd tonight with great seats. Stars of Fox's newest show, Boston Public. Premiering tomorrow at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. USA Today calls it the Monday show to watch. Another surefire hit from David E. Kelly, creator of Ally McBeal and The Practice. There's the cast enjoying hot dogs here at Yankee Stadium. Who are they sharing it with? Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick. That's Fox money buying hot dogs here at Yankee Stadium, and it's Boston Public premiering tomorrow, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox. HBO and Fox coming together for a dog at Yankee Stadium. What a moment. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out, nobody on, and Martinez, strike 1. Boy, this crowd is, no, I've said it twice or maybe 10 times by this point, but
certainly noticeable.
I mean, there is just no energy out of these seats here tonight. Either they're worn out from last night. I'm sure a lot of people are back from game 1. It was a long, tiring night last night. Penny Marshall. Nicholson's back. And I think, and Tim, you mentioned it during the break, that what happened with Clemens in the 1st inning really stunned these fans, and it's kind of taken the edge off the crowd here tonight. Jesse Jackson. Two balls, 2 strikes, and a ground ball to Alfonso. 2 out.
Trying to read into the reaction of any crowd is very difficult. You don't know whether it's embarrassment for what Roger Clemens did in the 1st inning, embarrassment for him, embarrassment if you're a Yankee fan. Stunned, I guess, is certainly an apt word. You had to look at Frank Robinson. Great player he was. Now in the Bud Selig's office, handing out fines this year, suspensions.
Sure, he sat up in his seat when Clemens threw that piece of the bat at Piazza back in the 1st inning. And to say that he threw it at Piazza, I don't know that that's accurate. It ended up heading toward Piazza. Every time I look at the replay of it, you can see that Clemens has his head pointed a little more up the line, but as the bat comes out of his hand, it ends up coming dangerously close to the Mets catcher. Hampton missing badly, and it's 2-0.
So in the last 2 times those two have faced one another, Clemens has hit Mike Piazza with a ball and almost hit him with a bat.
Commissioner. 2 out, nobody on, 2 balls, no strikes, and now 2-1 on Posada. Posada with an RBI single back in the 1st inning. He and Martinez with runs batted in after back-to-back 2-out walks to Justice and Williams. Now it's 3-1. constantly stretching, and a guy in Roger Clemens who was on the disabled list went on June 15th of this past season with a strained right groin. And when he came back, he was the Roger Clemens of old for these Yankees. Really their first real look at a long stretch of Roger Clemens in a dominating mode. Came back July 2nd. And he rattled off 8 wins in the next 14 starts without a loss. And ended up down the stretch coming off the disabled list with a record of 10-4 the rest of the way. And a 13-8 season overall. Here's Paul O'Neill. Up the middle. Alfonso can't get there. Posada will hold at second. It's 2 on, 2 out. A walk and now a single as O'Neill gets his second hit of this World Series.
Just eluding Edgardo Alfonso.
And now an RBI chance for Brocious, who homered in his only at bat so far back in the second. 7 career postseason home runs for Brocious. 2 on, 2 out, and strike 1 over the inside corner.
And that is a dangerous pitch, as Mike Hampton proved the last time up. Scott Brocious, a very, very good inside hitter.
Runners on at first and second, 2 out. That's off the plate and foul, strike 2.
That fastball tailing away from Scott. That pitch was down here.
The shot of the runner at second with O'Neill on at first. O'Neill with the 5th hit of the night for the Yankees to go along with 4 walks. One of the hits a home run. There have been 3 errors by the Mets, and yet at the moment it's 3-0 Yankees. 1 and 2. Vizcaíno, last night's hero, and already on base once tonight. Next. Had that shot at Joe Torre. We get a chance to meet with the managers prior to each game, and as we were walking out, Tim McCarver said to Joe Torre, well, get your rest. And he said, I'm doing that right now. As we were in there talking to him.
Yeah.
That's what he thinks about us. 2 on, 2 out. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's out of play. Back in the second, leading off, Brocious went down the left field line. Just enough to get into the seats, and it just did stay fair. Reaching for it, and Brocious strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Hampton. And this game goes to the 4th inning with the Yankees on top 3-0. Lenny Harris came close. That was back in the second. Errors all over the place. Base runners all over the place behind Hampton. And it's 3-0 Yankees.
Number 42, Jackie Robinson. It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who at best knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, fails while daring greatly. so that he shall never be with those timid souls who know neither victory or defeat.
Well, now it's the fourth inning with the Mets batting, and they trail the Yankees 3-0. Alfonso, Piazza, and Ventura for the Mets. And that got a piece of Alfonso as Clemens hits the leadoff man here in the fourth inning. And that'll get the Mets' attention. And who's coming to the plate next? Piazza.
When you have the reputation of Roger Clemens, you can see Jorge Posada sitting outside. But it's a tough sell when you accidentally hit a batter. But when a catcher has to move a mitt that far, clearly the ball just got away from Clemens. But anytime Clemens comes inside to a hitter, people think that you're throwing at him. And often you're throwing to knock guys back off the plate. And here's one of them.
One of the 10 that Clemens hit during the regular season. Piazza with a runner at first and nobody out. High heat, 96 miles per hour to Piazza, ball one.
The first time up, all 4 pitches to Mike Piazza were inside, eventually retiring Mike on a ground ball to second base.
Piazza trying to give the Mets a jolt. Can't do anything with that pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I was thinking right along with you, partner. The best thing that could help the Mets right now would be a long ball by Piazza. And in order to do that, he's going to have to get the ball down. Don't think home runs are a stranger to Mike Piazza. There's that slider I was talking about. July 9th last year. And then in June of this year, another slider low and away. Center field. Only the second grand slam hit against Clemens.
3 in the career for Mike Piazza against Clemens. And it was talked about after the beating on July the 8th. That was the history leading into Clemens driving Piazza off the plate. The fact that Piazza entered this game 7 out of 12 lifetime against the Rocket with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. Clemens behind in the count, 2 balls and a strike. Now 2-2.
That was the best pitch Mike Piazza's had to hit in this ball game. A fastball down around the knees. A deadly low ball hitter.
Alfonso hit by a pitch. 1 on, nobody out. And Piazza waits for a 2-2 from Clemens. Full count.
Piazza does not strike out a lot. For a guy with his power, he only struck out 69 times this year. However, against Clemens right now, I don't think Alfonso should be going 3-2 with the Mets trailing by 3 runs. The way Clemens is throwing, too good a chance for a strikeout.
He's going. Piazza pops it up. Shallow right down the line. And it's Tino Martinez with a nice catch in foul territory. 1 out.
Just overpowering Mike Piazza. That was on the 2-1 pitch. I beg your pardon. That was a 3-2 pitch. And a nice play by Tino Martinez.
And Tino Martinez had to make that play. Paul O'Neill playing very deep in right field. Jose Vizcaino had broken to cover second base on the steal attempt. Tino Martinez, the only defender that had a chance to make that play, made a fine running over the shoulder catch.
So now 1 on, 1 out. Clemens looks over at Alfonso as Ventura stands in. Robin 0 for 1. Hit a comebacker back in the second inning to Clemens. Strike 1. Ventura in this postseason is 5 out of 34. Only 1 home run and 7 runs batted in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, it wasn't Piazza who gave the Mets a jolt. That was close over at first. Ventura or Zeal, somebody's got to step up and do something to get the Mets off the deck here in the middle innings. Mets with only 1 hit, the 1-out hit by Zeal back in the second. The only other base runner, Alfonso, who was hit by a pitch to start this 4th inning. He's running, and Ventura fouls it back and out of play, strike 2. Take a look at the St. Paul Company's trivia question. New York City is hosting its 151st World Series game tonight. What city has hosted the second most?
Edgardo Alfonso running on that last pitch on a hit and run with the Mets down 3-0 is the most surprising running situation so far in the series, in my view.
Ventura fights it off.
The reason is relatively simple. He wasn't running to steal the base. Bobby Valentine put the hit and run on a 1-1 count. And the thing is that Clemens is a fly ball pitcher. He doesn't get a lot of ground balls. In my view, you waste a strike by making a guy like Ventura swing in that situation.
Ventura strikes out, 2 gone, and that's 6 strikeouts for Clemens.
Tough splitter right here. But again, an idea of how Clemens gets ahead with the fastball and finishes them off with that biting splitter. That was our scouting report. Clemens true to it in that at bat.
Now it's Zeal. To the shortstop, Jeter. Nice easy hop, and the force at second to end the top of the 4th inning. Tonight, Roger Clemens on the mound with his pitching has been in control. He's in charge this evening. And as this game goes to the bottom of the 4th inning, the Yankees still lead 3-0. 2000 Subway Series, courtesy of the Bud One airship, seen by millions on its ongoing goodwill tour as Vizcaino tries to bunt his way on. Strike 1. Budweiser is the official beer of Major League Baseball and the World Series. Bottom of the 4th inning, 3-0 Yankees. All Roger Clemens so far, and Vizcaino, who reached on an error back in the second, waits for an 0-1 pitch from Mike Hampton. One ball, 1 strike. Bob Brenly to go along with something that you talked about a couple of innings ago. The temperature does indeed have a direct influence on Mike Hampton and how he has pitched in his career. A ground ball to deep short. Good play by Bordick for the first out here in the 4th inning. Mike Hampton has made 7 regular season starts in his career. The game time temperature 50 degrees or below. This game started at 49 degrees. It's now 46 degrees. I know that this conversation borders on minutia and it's statistic heavy, but it's interesting. In those 7 starts, the temperature 50 degrees or below, he is 3-4 with an ERA of 6.27. and he averages 5.5 walks per 9 innings. In the other 180 in his career, he's 82-49 with an ERA of 3.33, walking only 3.4 per 9 innings. In case you're wondering, Game 5 of the National League Championship Series was 57 degrees, drizzling. But that important mark of 50 degrees, it was warmer than that, and Hampton was virtually unhittable.
Well, the temperature was not a factor at the Tokyo Dome. We know that when Mike Hampton opened the season for the Mets against the Chicago Cubs. The mound may have been a problem in that particular ball game. Both pitchers having problems with their footings. The fans had a great time, however. Batters repeatedly slipping out of the batter's box. Hampton, as we mentioned, 9 walks in 5 innings in that ball game. Gave up only 4 base hits and allowed 2 runs to the Chicago Cubs.
The official temperature at the start of the game, 49 degrees. Here at Yankee Stadium, it's 46 degrees here now. Even though that billboard out beyond Yankee Stadium said 56. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 out, nobody on, 2-0.
I think it all gets back to what we were talking about. You see the opening day line for Mike Hampton over in Tokyo. That cutter, the sinker, the changeup, all very much finesse pitches that rely on the pitcher being able to get a very good grip on the ball, apply some finger pressure either with the middle finger or the index finger, depending on what kind of movement he wants. And Hampton, once again, blowing on his hand before every pitch until right before he goes into the glove.
On the inside corner, 2-2. The bigger picture is, while the Mets and Mike Hampton have broken off contract talks, there is discussion that Mike Hampton doesn't enjoy pitching in this climate here in the Northeast. He's from Florida. He lives in Houston. Steve Phillips making the trade over the offseason to bring Hampton here, and right now he's in the category of a hired gun. If they don't retain him past this year, Zeal with a big stretch as Jeter grounds out 5-3, and that's the first 1-2-3 inning of the night for Mike Hampton. It must be getting warmer. We're into the 5th inning now, 3-0 Yankees. You will revisit the St. Paul Company's trivia question. New York City is hosting its 151st World Series game tonight. What city has hosted the second most?
My guess would be your hometown, St. Louis, Missouri.
And you are correct. 50 games, 47 by the Cardinals and 3 by the Browns.
That Browns-Cardinals series back in 1944. The only year the Browns won it.
Here is Agbayani leading off 5th inning, and he lays off that pitch low and away, ball 1. Agbayani, then Harris, then Payton, as the Mets look for some sign of life against Roger Clemens. He's allowed only 1 hit. He's coming off that 1-hit shutout with 15 strikeouts in Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. Clemens lost 2 games in the division series against the A's. As Agbayani grounds 1 to Jeter. Bad throw, but scooped up by Martinez, 1 out.
Roger Clemens staying ahead of the net hitters for the most part. Matter of fact, he was ahead of the first 10 hitters to face him. Strike 1 is the biggest pitch on any count to any hitter. The hitter is forced to be a defensive hitter, as he is 0-1, 0-2, 1-2. He becomes a different hitter. You go 1-0, as Roger just has done to Lenny Harris, 2-0, 3-0, 3-1. That's when pitchers get burned.
This 38-year-old right-hander throwing 97, 98. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lenny Harris.
Now Leiter, giving up 2 runs in last night's game, for the most part was ahead of the Yankee hitters, and until Bubba Trammell's singles in the 6th inning, so was Andy Pettitte. Make that the 7th inning. The pitching ahead in the count is vital to winning pitching.
2 balls and a strike. Lenny Harris with 1 out, 2-2.
Lenny Harris looking for the fastball on the 2-1 count. And gets under it.
Ground 1 strikeout, number 7. Harris stays alive.
That's an example of a defensive swing. A guy like Lenny Harris wouldn't take a swing like that if the count were 2-0, 3-0, or 3-1. He's protecting here, so he cuts down on his swing. And it's a check swing.
Harris struck out his first time. Payton waits on deck. A tester for Brocious. Good play, 2 out.
On the 2-2 count. Think about it now. There are 12 counts possible to any one hitter. On the left-hand side, the unpredictable counts. Even counts are when the hitter's behind. The predictable counts of 1-0, 2-1. And then the Don Rickles counts, 3-0, 2-0, and 3-1. That's when the hitters are at their most offensive. And then the 3-2 count, a swing count. But check out right here. 1-2, 0-2, 2-2. All, now those are major league hitters this season. American League and National League.
Payton hits a rocket over to third, backhanded by Brocious. And a 1-2-3 inning for Clemens. He and the Yankees halfway through game 2. And the Yankees lead by 3. How to get around the boroughs in New York. Game 1, we were showing you the different ways to get to the stadium by subway. Different trains you could take. And Shea Stadium, and now how you could do it in a car. What is it, a little under 10 miles between here and there?
9 or 10 miles and 1 bridge, the Triborough. There's a Triborough. Top of your picture.
David Justice leading off for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Nice thing the governor of New York, Governor Pataki, has done. For 2 hours after every game at Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium, the subway rides from the stadiums will be free.
Free passage home.
Yes, sir.
Subway Series, game 2. The Yankees winning last night. Yankees winning tonight 3-0, bottom of the 5th inning. A 2-ball, 2-strike count. There was a touch of magic in it, in that all of those pinch hitters and all of those players off the bench. The one guy who wasn't replaced late in the game was the surprise starter, and only in there because of his success against Leiter in his career, Vizcaíno. But Joe Torre kept him in the game, and Vizcaíno got a hit in the 6th inning, a hit in the 9th, a hit in the 11th, and the game-winning hit with 2 out in the 12th. A game in which Joe Torre lifted Justice, lifted Brocious, and Soho in the lineup. That inserted Polonia, who got a big hit in the 9th inning. But Vizcaíno stayed in there, and he drove home the game-winning run. That gets away from Piazza, but it's a foul ball. And the count remains 3-2.
That's odd, because the guy who thinks he fouled the ball is usually the hitter. He didn't foul that ball.
Nope.
That ball tipped off of Mike Piazza's glove. See, when a hitter runs like that, a hitter's the guy who can feel the ball hit the bat more than anybody. He missed that ball by 2 inches, didn't he? So did Piazza.
Home plate umpire is Charlie Relaford. He thought it was a foul tip, and on the next pitch, Justice strikes out. 4th strikeout for Hampton. And we remind you that the Yankees take the subway to Shea and put El Duque on the mound. See if he can go to 9-0 in his career in the postseason, while Rick Reed will make his first World Series start for the Mets. Yankees-Mets World Series Game 3 Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox.
Well, David Justice should have been a strikeout victim and been standing on first base. Instead, he's a strikeout victim and standing in the dugout.
Strike one on Williams.
One more look at that 3-2 pitch to David Justice.
Now strike 2 on Williams. There are 2 guys in this park who know that David Justice should be on first base. And it's Justice and Piazza.
Now, you could see clearly right there. He did not foul tip that ball. Break for the Mets.
And now an 0-2 count on Bernie Williams, who walked and scored back in the 1st. Up the middle, diving stop, Bordick. Good play, 2 out.
A fine play to make the catch, and as good a play getting to his feet. Watch Bordick. Great glove work and great footwork.
Watch his bare hand as he keeps his fingers up when he slides across the turf, so that when he reaches into that glove to get the ball, he won't have a chunk of dirt between his hand and the ball.
So now with 2 out, nobody on, Tino Martinez leans back from ball 1. Already a hit tonight at .365 in the postseason for the Yankees. Bottom of the 5th inning, and the Yankees lead 3-0. One ball, 1 strike. The Mets in the 6th inning will have Bordick to lead it off. And Perez and Alfonso. Anybody gets on, Mike Piazza. So a test coming up for Roger Clemens as Martinez goes into right center. Payton on the run, won't get there, plays it on a hop, and Tino Martinez has a 2-out double. Ball hung up in the air for a long time, but neither Perez or Payton could get to it. And another hit for Martinez.
The ball hung up in the air after the ball hung up in the air. That was a hanger, a breaking ball, one of the rare breaking balls that Hampton has thrown tonight. Tino Martinez finding a seam in right center field. You could see he was fooled by the pitch, but the hands were back, and that allowed him to furnish the power.
Mets are going to take the bat out of the hands of Posada. The intentional pass will put 2 on with 2 out for O'Neill. Last night, the Mets handed the Yankees 3 intentional walks. The Fourth of this World Series being given to the Yankees here in the fifth inning of Game 2.
One of the great at-bats in recent postseason history was last night. Paul O'Neill against Armando Benitez. A 10-pitch at-bat. That's the fourth one fouled off. 2-2. Now 3-2. Two more fouls. And a walk. Did he ever earn it?
Now it's O'Neill with 2 on, 2 out.
I wonder if the fans and the crowd here standing suddenly realizing that this may be the last time they see Paul O'Neill play a game at Yankee Stadium. If the Yankees win it in 4 or 5, Paul O'Neill may not be with this club next year.
Into the right field corner. Perez going to get it. Won't get there. In to score Martinez. They will hold Posada in third, and it's 4-0 Yankees. O'Neill delivers with 2 out.
As he has done since the trade that sent Paul O'Neill from the Cincinnati Reds for Roberto Kelly. 1992, his first year here at Yankee Stadium. A big hit.
What a terrific play by Perez out in the right field corner to save a run. Playing it on a hop with a bare hand. Now first and third, 2 out, and Brocious strike 1. Four runs now for Roger Clemens to work with. Rick White for the second time tonight getting loose for the Mets. 1 ball, 1 strike. Posada at third, O'Neill at first.
The reason we said that, as you look at the pitch count for Mike Hampton, the reason we said that about Paul O'Neill, there's been so much talk about the possibility of the New York Yankees signing Manny Ramirez of the Cleveland Indians, who is a free agent.
And from nearby Washington Heights.
Right.
2 balls and a strike on Brocious.
Manny Ramirez, the remarkable run producer of the Cleveland Indians.
Fifth inning, 4-0 Yankees. A chance for more. Off the end of the bat. And into the glove of Alfonso to end the fifth. Another run for the Yankees. A 2-out double by Martinez. An intentional walk to Jorge Posada. And it's Paul O'Neill who delivers the RBI single. That's how the rally started. And it was Paul O'Neill who drove home the run. Sixth inning now. 4-0 Yankees. In the Yankees, 1 out of Roger Clemens. He lost his cool back in the first inning, but he has settled in and pitching another great game. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly with you, and coming off that 1-hitter in Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. Here he is doing it again. Strikeouts aren't piling up, but he is pitching like that dominant right-hander the Yankees believed they were getting when they picked him up from Toronto.
Just overpowering a Mets team that is not used to being overpowered.
And you really get the feeling that he probably could have more strikeouts in this ball game. He's throwing that fastball almost at will wherever he wants. And once he gets to 2 strikes, that split finger is just unhittable.
Number 9 man is Bordick. He'll start it for the Mets. 6th inning, 4-0 Yankees. Bordick, then Perez, then Alfonso. And again, anybody gets on in the inning, it's Piazza. Two 2-0. Two and one. Perez next. Bordick with a count in his favor. Not anymore. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bordick, goodbye. Strikeout number 7. Go back to game 4 of the American League Championship Series up in Seattle. Alex Rodriguez is dusted off the plate. And then Roger Clemens went to work. Took care of the Seattle Mariners. That was the only base hit of the night. Down into the right field corner and just out of the reach of Tino Martinez off the bat of Al Martin. And now with 1 out, nobody on, here's Timo Perez as Clemens is doing it again here tonight. And as usual, strike 1 to the Met hitter.
Some comments from Alex Rodriguez after that Seattle double knockdown from Lou Piniella, the Seattle Mariner, and the Seattle Mariners in general. And it was brought out again that if you eliminate the designated hitter and the pitcher had to hit, there would be fewer knockdowns.
The bunt by Perez. Clemens off the mound. Bad throw and safe at first as Martinez could not dig it out of the dirt.
When you barehand a ball, it's very important to pick it up with the middle finger, index finger, and the thumb. Otherwise, in effect, you throw a changeup, and it looks like Clemens picks the ball up and that ring finger becomes involved, and he throws a changeup to first base. Normally, Martinez picks that ball. Check it out. See the ring finger right there? Whenever the ring finger becomes involved in anybody throwing, you choke the ball, and you have a tendency to short hop it, and that's what happened there.
An error on Clemens. And a check on Perez. Still only 1 hit tonight for the Mets. It belongs to Zeal back in the 2nd. Alfonso has reached base tonight, hit by a pitch leading off the 4th, but then Piazza fouled out to first. Ventura struck out and Zeal bounced into a force out. After a Bordick strikeout here in the 6th inning, Perez reaches on the error, and Clemens is paying attention to him over at first. Alfonso off the end of the bat into center field. Easy for Williams. 2 down. Immediately Derek Jeter was calling out to Williams to get ready to throw and get it back into the infield with Perez, the runner, at first.
Yeah, because Perez went back to tag up. Bernie, concentrating on the ball, has to rely on Jeter to tell him that Perez is doing this.
And now 1 on 2 out for Piazza. 0 for 2 tonight. He's grounded out. He's fouled out. Strike 1. Piazza bothered by tendonitis in his right knee. See on that first swing, that back leg kind of kick out. That's that support side for any power hitter, any hitter, the backside. Same thing that bothered Mark McGwire for the second half of the 2000 season, although not to that extreme. No balls, 1 strike, and now 2 strikes.
You notice that Clemens has not thrown Piazza 1 breaking ball tonight. Fastball splitter.
Roger Clemens trying to make Mike Piazza his 8th strikeout victim of game 2.
You saw Jorge Posada put down 5-5. That's either a step off or a throw to first. Pitcher has the option.
Into left field, hard hit, and a heck of a catch by David Justice. Sliding grab by Justice in left, the hardest hit ball all night. A line shot off the bat of Piazza and into the glove of Justice. Bottom of the 6th, 4-0 Yankees. New Yorker Regis Philbin taking in the action here at Yankee Stadium. And I'm not going to say, is that your final answer? Refuse. Yankee fans having the fun here tonight so far. 4-0 the Yankees lead. Hampton back to work. And a strike into Vizcaíno, the number 9 hitter. Then Knobloch and Jeter. Ventura. Vizcaíno 0 for 3.
It was on Regis's show that Benny Akbayani naively and innocently said Mets in 5. Huh, Regis?
Denzel Washington here. Well, I mean, everywhere you look. Hollywood is here. A lot of New Yorkers that are in the entertainment industry. There's Billy Crystal, who helped us out last night. We came on the air with an open that Gary Lang put together and was voiced by Billy Crystal. 1 ball, no strikes on Chuck Knobloch. Hampton trying to get through the 6th inning. Falls behind Knobloch 2-0. Chris Childs. Mrs. Olbermann. Keith's mom and a lifelong Yankee fan. Season ticket holder here at Yankee Stadium. Fitting that Knobloch would be the man at the plate. It was Mrs. Olbermann that Knobloch found with an errant throw earlier in the season. Benny Marshall. Laverne, whatever you want to call it. Into center field. 2 out. Tim, you want to talk about this? Bob, you want to talk about this?
I think you ought to handle it, Joe.
Yeah, I do too.
June 17th. And it was Mrs. Olbermann on the other end of it. There she is in the seats, and we go down to Keith Olbermann here in game 2. Keith?
You know, as Mom said, Joe, in 1934, Babe Ruth gave her a baseball. In 2000, Chuck Knobloch gave her a baseball. Just the delivery was a little different. Mom's a gamer. She'll be here again if there's any more this season.
2 out, nobody on, and Jeter takes a strike, but it does point out what's going to happen, or at least the plan for game 3, and we touched on it last night, that Chuck Knobloch, even with those throwing troubles and the bad elbow, is supposed to start at second base in game 3 as Jeter goes into left center. Well hit off the wall. Jeter cruises into second with a 2-out double. Derek's parents, pride of Kalamazoo, and he's at second with 2 out here in the 6th inning.
A flat fastball from Mike Hampton. Mike has not had good stuff tonight. Yankees with a 4-run lead, trying to tack on with 2 out here in the 6th.
You really get a sense from catcher cam that pitch right in the heart of the plate for Derek Jeter.
Now it's David Justice.
Hangers can be high, they can be low, they can be waist high. I think the definition of a hanger, a pitch that's action has stopped in the strike zone, whether it's down, up, outside, inside.
Justice tonight, a walk and a run scored, 0 for 2, and now Glendon Rush gets loose with Bernie Williams on deck and Tino Martinez, then the switch hitting catcher Posada. And that hit Justice on that front arm and off that arm guard that he wears for just such a pitch.
Well, you heard some scattered boos. You can't understand boos. I mean, this situation with what has happened to Mike Piazza in the 1st inning. David Justice, I don't think this was retaliation. And even if it was, it hit Justice on the best spot because he has armor on that right elbow.
Hampton now with 2 on and 2 out. Bernie Williams, strike 1. Williams trying to add to a 4-0 Yankees 6th inning lead. Even if that was unintentional, there will be more read into it with the history between these two teams this season and then what happened back in the 1st inning with Clemens losing his temper and firing the broken bat at least toward the first baseline where Mike Piazza was trotting down toward first.
Joe, it seems to me that if you're going to intentionally throw at a Yankee hitter, you would have done it more after the event, immediately after the Piazza event. And notice ball tailing in to David Justice, hitting David on the right elbow.
Down and into Williams, a ball and a strike.
You know, much was made about the fact that Roger Clemens starting in game 2 rather than game 3 at Shea Stadium. Roger Clemens would have had 3 at-bats in this ball game by now had this game been at Shea Stadium. And I guarantee you in at least one of those 3 at-bats he'd have been on the seat of his pants.
You're right.
Two balls and a strike on Williams. Dave Wallace, Bobby Valentine conferring in the Mets dugout. Glendon Rush got to be ready by now, but they'll stick with Hampton. 2 balls and a strike on Williams. Two and 2. Rush staying warm in the Mets bullpen. The Mets in the 7th inning will have Ventura, Zeal, and Agbayani. Runners on at first and second, 2 out. And we'll have to wait for the 2-2 pitch. pop up off the bat of Williams into right center. Payton takes care of it, and that takes care of the Yankees in the 6th inning. A double. Justice hit by a pitch earlier in the game. Alfonso hit by a pitch. Now Justice here in the 6th. We go to the 7th. 4-0 Yankees. Back after this from your local Fox station. Lafayette High School in Brooklyn. Larry King. As this game goes to the 7th inning, 4-0. The Yankees on top. Clemens spinning a one-hitter at the Mets. Ventura 0 for 2. Then Zeal, then Agbayani. Another impressive start from Roger Clemens, going back-to-back with strong starts in this postseason after losing the first 2 starts that he made against the Oakland Athletics. Mets during the season, 45 come from behind victories. It's tied for most in the majors as the count goes to 2-1. Clemens has not showed any signs of wearing down or slowing down so far. Ventura goes after one out of the strike zone. 2-2.
You notice Clemens has fallen behind Ventura and fallen behind tonight occasionally, but it's not way behind. No 2-0, 3-0, 3-1 count. It's 1-0, then it's 1-1. It's 2-1, then it's 2-2.
Ventura into left center field. Slicing to Justice. 1 out.
Earlier, we talked about dissecting the count. The 12 different counts in baseball. The unpredictable, predictable, Don Rickles count, when batters are most offensive, and the swing count, the 3-2 pitch. The reason we brought this up and we brought it back was it's startling when you realize that Mark McGwire last year had 65 home runs, and only 8 of those home runs were hit when he was behind in the count. So if it applies to the greatest home run hitter of our era, perhaps any era, it certainly applies to guys who don't hit home runs. 2 old friends getting together.
Fraternizing in the bullpen. David Cone, who may very well start game 4. Joe Torre with an interesting comment prior to this game, talking with John Franco. Joe Torre saying that in all of his years here with the Yankees, which started with that World Championship in 1996, his best decision was putting the ball in David Cone's hand for that game 3 start of the 96 World Series. Good swing by Zeal. 2-2. If you remember, the Yankees were down 2-0 after losing 2 here in New York. David's hungry right now. And then down to Atlanta. David Cone with start of a lifetime in that game 3. And the Yankees went on to win that game 3 more. And they have won 13 consecutive World Series games from that point on, from David Cone's start in 1996 through last night. That's a record as Zeal grounds a base hit through the left side, and Zeal has 2 hits tonight. Zeal the only 2 hits tonight for the Mets. You look at consecutive wins in championship series games, and the 13 by the Yankees between 1996 and now 2000. 97 they weren't involved. You look at hockey, the Montreal Canadiens had 11 straight. The best in the NBA finals, the Houston Rockets in 94-95 with 6 in a row. And in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers with the 3 victories at the end of the season from 65 to 67. But at the top of that list, these Yankees, who set the record with last night's victory. Last year, their 25th World Championship. A runner at first, one out. And a rare 2-0 count on a hitter. Agbayani,
who gears for the fastball in counts like this. Agbayani with power to all fields.
So far, he's struck out. He's grounded out. Geared up for the fastball, and he fouled it off. 2-1. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of Major League Baseball. Or he can write you a note and you can do whatever you want with it. Quick meeting on the mound as Posada went out to talk to Clemens. No serious threat tonight yet by the Mets. Runner at first, one out. And another foul out of play, 2-2.
It gives you an idea of just how hard Roger Clemens is throwing when a good fastball hitter, knowing the fastball is coming, 2-0 and 2-1, still can't get around on it.
And apparently Posada and Clemens are going to verbally give the signals for the rest of the game. Once again, Posada with a quick visit out to the mound.
Which will be another reason for long games. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 on, 1 out. Mets trying to get something going against Roger Clemens. Agbayani missed it. Down to second is Zeal. The throw down to first is unnecessary.
I mean, you see this all the time, and you get the idea that Major League ball players don't know the rules. When first base is occupied and there are less than 2 outs and the batter strikes out, he's automatically out. The runner can advance at his own risk, but both Agbayani and Posada were wrong. Last night, we saw Jay Payton foul a ball behind home plate and then look behind home plate, even the ball ended up fair, thinking by his actions that the ball was foul. What is going on?
And you can see by that throw from Posada, which took off on him, it took Martinez leaping into the air to save a wild throw down the right field line. At that point, Zeal was at second. He would have at least been at third. An unnecessary throw to first. And on the play, Zeal took second, and he's there with 2 out. The wild pitch allows the runner, Zeal, to go to second. Strike 1 on Harris. .10:30 here at Yankee Stadium. A 4-0 Yankee lead. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly with Michael Weissman and Bill Webb in the truck, along with many others. And the Yankees, who won last night's game with a run in the 9th inning to tie it and a run in the 12th inning to win it 4 hours and 51 minutes after Game 1 began, have led throughout tonight. Roger Clemens has been in control, and that's out in front of the plate. Clemens makes the play, almost hit Harris with the throw down to first, and the inning is over. A hit, a wild pitch. The Mets strand their 4th. Time to stretch at Yankee Stadium. 4-0 Yankees. Bud One airship and its eye in the sky camera, proud to provide you with these live shots 1,000 feet above New York in tonight's game here in the Bronx. Well, Mike Hampton is finished. Glendon Rush takes over here in the 7th. Tino Martinez leads it off. 4-0 the Yankees on top, and a strike from Rush. Just terrific work in the postseason, including last night. A record of 1-0 overall. Last night, an inning and 2/3. Came in a tight spot with 2 on, nobody out in the 10th inning. Got out of that jam and was relieved in the 11th Wendell took care of the rest of the 11th, but Turk was the loser, allowing that 2-out RBI single with the bases loaded by Vizcaíno in the 12th. Left side and a good hop for Bordick. Martinez retired 6-3. Earlier in the game, Dave Wallace, the pitching coach for the Mets, talking with Al Leiter about what World Series competition is all about.
Last bit of energy you have left in your body and you walk away proud.
I like that. Yeah, enjoy
the competition. Greatest competition in the world at this sport. Go out and...
But when you have like your mom say, have fun.
Oh yeah. Well, moms don't know.
Now it's Wallace on the phone talking to the bullpen as Posada, who's been on base 3 times tonight, comes up empty, strike 1. One ball, one strike. Did Mom ever say have fun?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember, have fun.
Sure.
I still love you, even if you're 0 for the World Series. Even if an entire town is chanting your name with bad things surrounding your name. I still love you. Have fun. Dave Wallace and these Mets trying to find something to enjoy here tonight, but it's been all Yankees.
Well, dads say be sure to have fun also. And Mike Hampton's father, Mike Sr., is up from the middle of Florida, from Brooksville. It's only his 4th airplane trip. He does not like to fly, but up to see his son because he promised Mike that he would see him if they reach the World Series. Not a good start for Mike tonight. But should the series go that far, he will be the starter in Game 6 against the Yankees.
Mike Hampton and Roger Clemens both live in Houston during the offseason. The 2 starters for tonight's game, and they play pickup basketball against one another during the offseason. They'll have a little more to talk about this upcoming offseason as Rick White, for the 3rd time tonight, gets loose. O'Neill ought to be loose after that swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Instead of pickup basketball, Mike's first question might be, why did Roger Clemens pick up the barrel of the bat tonight?
That happened back in the 1st inning when Piazza shattered his bat. Went down the first baseline, at least partway down the first baseline. That's foul. And then Roger Clemens picked up the business end of the bat with the jagged edge to it and fired it over at the first baseline, which ended up dangerously close to Mike Piazza. Can you imagine if he hit him with that piece of the bat?
No, I can't. Nope. One would think that a sincere apology would be forthcoming. We'll just have to wait and see.
Breaking ball off the glove of Zeal and down the right field line. Digging for third, Posada. Perez trying to dig it out. Posada held at third on a double by O'Neill. Second and third, 1 out.
That is only the 3rd extra base hit for Paul O'Neill since September 3rd. His 2nd double. He has 1 home run. Between Zeal and the bag, Paul's 3rd hit of the night.
So the double down the right field line, setting up second and third, 1 out. Rush is gone. Rick White coming in with Brocious coming up. The Yankees leading by 4. Rick White was the only member of the Mets bullpen not to get into Game 1 last night. There he is out of the bullpen in Game 2. The numbers during the regular season picked up from the Tampa Bay Devil Rays near the trading deadline. The Mets a record of 2-3, and for this postseason, this will be his 4th game. A record of 1-0 with an ERA of over 4.5.
Scott Brosius, the MVP of the 1998 World Series, has had a good night tonight. A home run to make it 3-0. And on the other side of the ball, he can pick it. One play deserves another.
With the appreciation of Roger Clemens, and now Brosius with a chance to bust it wide open with runners at second and third, 1 out. The infield is in for the play at the plate.
Here's a situation. You have a 4-run lead, regardless of the speed of the runner. On a ground ball, the runner from third goes on contact. The worst that can happen, you end up with runners at first and third and 2 outs, but you've taken a chance to score a run.
White steps off.
The Mets had an opportunity to do that last night with Todd Pratt on third base, a 3-2 lead, and 1 out, and Bobby Valentine elected not to send Pratt. A slow roller was hit to Vizcaino. He bobbled the ball. Pratt probably would have scored had he been running on contact. But the Yankees got the Mets out of the inning. The Yankees tied it in the bottom of the 9th and then won it in the 12th.
And the interesting thing was, in talking to Joe Torre, and you asked him the question, you said if O'Neill doesn't walk, if he makes it out in the 9th inning last night, who bats? And he said probably Canseco or a home run hitter. If it's a 2-run inning, it might be a home run hitter or somebody who could pop the ball out of the park instead of Polonia, who got a big base hit. Then Vizcaino stays in the game. He gets a hit. And the sac fly by Knobloch tied the game. So that was a big run that wasn't scored on the obvious side, with keeping it a 1-run game. And then on the tactical side, by what happened in the bottom of the 9th, in the mind of Joe Torre in the Yankee dugout. Second and third, 1 out, and Brosius takes ball 1. Vizcaino next. Rick White, first World Series action for him, and a 1-0. 2-0. It would not break the Mets' heart if White walked Brosius. First base open, second and third, 1 out. Vizcaino on deck, the number 9 man. Rush still shaking his head after lasting only a third of an inning. Now 3-0. Yankees lead 4-0 in the 7th inning. Brosius trying to add to it. See if White gives him anything to hit. Into right field. Deep enough. Perez back to get it. Both runners tag. Both runners advance, and it's 5-0 Yankees. Sac fly to right by Brosius.
A 3-0 count is different if there's a runner on third and less than 2 outs. Normally, Scott Brosius would not swing at that pitch, even though it's a strike. But it's a ball that he can lift. And he lifted it deep enough to score Posada. O'Neill moving to third base.
O'Neill tiptoeing to third, and he's there with 2 out. A 5-0 Yankee lead. Now the number 9 hitter, Vizcaino. Strike 1.
Joe, you could see the body language of Scott Brosius. He was kind of flipping at the area of the ball. And Read the body language saying that ball was away enough to where he could lift it deep enough to right field, because as we mentioned earlier, he's an inside hitter, and with nobody on, he would look for an inside pitch to hit. But with that runner on at third and only one out, watch the pitch he chooses for the sac fly. It's up and out.
Second RBI of the night for Brocious, who's also homered. Runner at third, 2 out, and a strike on the inside corner to Vizcaíno, who spins and talks to Charlie Rutherford. The Mets in the 8th inning will have Payton, Bordick, and Perez, the scheduled hitters. Tonight so far, it hasn't mattered who's at the plate, with the exception of Zeal. The way Clemens is pitching, that's saved by Piazza. And Vizcaíno checked his swing, 2-2. What does the matchup look like for Game 3? That's on Tuesday night, 8 Eastern on Fox. El Duque, this postseason, 3-0 against Rick Reed, who's 0-1 with a big ERA in this postseason. El Duque 8-0 in his career in the postseason. Still 2-2. There's El Duque as we flash back to last night after 1 a.m. So I guess early this morning, and the base is loaded. 2 out, game-winning single to left by Vizcaíno.
4 hits in the game for Vizcaíno. That was his 3rd consecutive single. He singled in the 9th, in the 11th, and then the game winner in the bottom of the 12th.
The 2-2 to Vizcaíno here got him looking. 1 run allowed in the inning. It's charged to Rush, and Game 2 goes to the 8th. The Yankees now lead by 5. Roger Clemens back to work. Top of the 8th inning, and the Mets running out of chances. They'll send in Jay Payton. Then a pinch hitter, and then Timo Perez here in the 8th. With the Yankees leading 1-0, and in Game 2 leading 5-0. Here's Payton. Playing here in Yankee Stadium before the series will shift to Shea for at least games 3 and 4. First year for baseball in Shea Stadium, 1964. Darrell Hamilton on deck. He'll hit for Bordick. First year of baseball here at Yankee Stadium, 1923. Clemens so far tonight has struck out 8. He's allowed no runs and only 2 hits. There's been 1 error. He committed it back in the 6th inning. The Mets have committed 3 errors tonight. Mike Hampton did not have his good stuff tonight. 6 innings, 4 runs, all earned on 8 hits. Lyndon Rush just charged with a run in the bottom of the 7th, and here in the 8th. Payton at the plate with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Justin Case. Stanton and Nelson getting loose for the Yankees in their bullpen. Stanton the winner last night with 2 blow-you-away innings against the Mets. 3 strikeouts mixed in. He was perfect in the final 2 innings. To the right of Vizcaíno. Gets a nice hop, makes a strong throw. 1 away in the top of the 8th inning. Flashback, New York Times, and the year 1923. First game the Yankees played here, fittingly, against the Red Sox. See the price of men's suits back then, $45 to $78.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. says Tim McCarver, sitting there in a $45 suit. Stock prices back in 1923, and one of the faces and that name of Ruth, really the reason behind Yankee Stadium. The Yankees shared their home with the Giants, the Polo Grounds, until a guy named, as you see all the retired numbers here at Yankee Stadium with a great history of this Yankee franchise. When a guy named Ruth came to the Yankees and played for him in 1920, the Yankees started to outdraw the Giants, and they said, look, this has been nice, but get the heck out of our home and find a place of your own. So they opened Yankee Stadium in 1923. And the Yankees, who had lost the first two games, the first two Subway Series. You see the monument to Babe Ruth. The Yankees, who lost the first two Subway Series to the Giants at the Polo Grounds in 21 and 22, then won 9 in a row before losing to the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1955. This ballpark renovated in the mid-70s when the Yankees called Shea Stadium home. Hamilton's gone, 2 out. And the dominance continues on the part of Clemens as he rings up his 9th strikeout. The Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio. The first monument back in 1932 when Monument Park was constructed. There are 5 monuments out there: Gehrig, Ruth, Miller, Huggins, Mickey Mantle, and Joe DiMaggio.
And the site of the Polo Grounds is relatively speaking, a stone's throw from Yankee Stadium. Just over the McCombs Dam Bridge that spans the East River.
This is Perez, and that was strike 1. Saw those retired numbers. The Yankees have retired 14 uniform numbers to honor 15 players and managers. Perez, 1 ball, 1 strike.
I said the East River, the Harlem River, over which the McCombs Dam Bridge spans. All that's left of the Polo Grounds, however, is a plaque.
The 1-1 to Perez on the outside corner, strike 2. And this crowd to its feet, at least the Yankee fans. Perez set up for Clemens' 10th strikeout of the night. 2-2. That's backing out of play. If you noticed when our camera panned the retired numbers out beyond the wall in left field, there were 2 number 8s. 14 uniform numbers retired, 15 players and managers, and they're the 2 number 8s, Bill Dickey and Yogi Berra. 2 out, nobody on. 2-2 to Perez. Shattered bat. Jeter. Bottom of the 8th. Another 1-2-3 inning for Roger Clemens. Another strong start. And after winning game 1 last night in game 2, the Yankees lead 5-0. The Bud 1 airship up above, the best seat in the house. Flying overhead tonight to bring you these beautiful live shots. Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball, and the 2000 Subway Series. The game summary: Roger Clemens in charge tonight, 8 innings, only 2 hits. Piazza hitless tonight, has only 1 single in this World Series. Tino Martinez stayed hot. Roches a home run, 2 RBIs tonight. Here's Knobloch taking the first pitch and grounding it to Alfonso. And Knobloch is 0 for 4 tonight. That's the first out in the bottom of the 8th. Kurt Abbott, after Mike Bordick was lifted for the pinch hitter. Abbott takes over at short for Bordick. Here's the Yankee shortstop, Derek Jeter. White relieved last inning with second and third, one out, gave up a sac fly. Struck out Vizcaíno, took care of Knobloch here in this eighth inning, and misses with ball one to Jeter.
Unless the Mets can climb back from at least a 5-run deficit, they will lose this game. Bobby Valentine's ball club will go down 2-0. Keep in mind, that was the situation with the Yankees in 1996 against the Atlanta Braves. Matter of fact, it was worse for the Yankees because they lost the first 2 games here at Yankee Stadium. And then Joe Torre's, what now has become famous, remark to George Steinbrenner. He said, George, we'll just go down to Atlanta and win 3 in a row. And he did. And then won the clincher in Game 6 back here at Yankee Stadium.
The 1-1 to Jeter. Broken bat. Pop fly, base hit down the right field line, and Jeter will go for 2 and make it easily. Zeal gets it back in, a 1-out double. Third hit of the night for Jeter. Second double.
Derek dragging his bat head through the strike zone. When that happens, the hands go first, not the bat head. And there's only one way the ball can go, and that's the opposite direction. Watch the hands lead through the strike zone. The bat pointed that way. There's only one place the ball can go, and Derek fortunate to find a hole. A second straight double of the night.
The last one was struck much crisper.
Yes, it was.
This one.
Yeah, the one to left center. They all count, though, don't they, Bob?
Yes, they do.
Here's David Justice. Hitless tonight. He's been hit by a pitch, walked and scored. Runner at second, 1 out. 5-0 Yankees in the bottom of the 8th. And strike 1. Derek Jeter, who was at the beginning of this great run by the Yankees in '96, thrust right onto this October stage, has now reached base in 53 of 58 career postseason games. 0-2 on Justice. Coming up after the game, the late local news. And for those of you that want more post-game coverage, tune to Fox Sports Net on your local satellite provider. Oh, and 2 on Justice. Ball and 2 strikes.
David Justice with 1 World Series ring. Derek Jeter at age 26 with 3 World Series rings.
Justice a big reason why the Braves won back in '95 with that Game 6 home run. Taking care of the Indians. Spoiled it. Still 1-2.
That swing right there is like a quarterback. 2nd and 10, throwing the ball away. Gives him another shot. Rear end out. Little save me swing right there.
Runner at second, 1 out, a ball and 2 strikes. That's Abbott just into the game. Takes care of Justice, 2 out. Look for the Gillette $1 Million Strike Zone Challenge, Game 4 of this World Series on Fox. That will be on Wednesday night at Shea Stadium. And these Mets can only hope that a trip to Queens will be the cure for what ails them. That and getting Roger Clemens off the mound. That part of it can't hurt either. They're going to intentionally walk Bernie Williams. So that'll be 5 intentional passes handed to the Yankees already in this series. 3 last night and 2 tonight. This will leave it up to Tino Martinez, who is the hottest hitter in the Yankee lineup. There's a lefty, Dennis Cook, ready in the Mets bullpen if needed. And he may trot out and pitch to Martinez here in the 8th. That's going to be the move as Dave Wallace comes out of the dugout. Has not made the signal. Now he does. Dennis Cook will appear from beyond the left field wall. He'll take on Tino Martinez with 2 on 2 out in the 8th. Hampton made to Tino Martinez back in the 1st inning after back-to-back 2-out walks. Martinez, a base hit to score Justice, and then Bernie Williams scored on a base hit by Posada. Home run by Brocious in the 2nd inning. A run driven in by O'Neill in the 5th. A run driven in by Brocious in the 7th. And now 2 on 2 out here in the 8th for Martinez. And that's fouled out of play. These Yankees tonight have scored 5. They've left 10. And they've lost 2 on the bases, both back in the 2nd inning. Vizcaíno out stealing. Looked like a missed hit and run sign by Knobloch at the plate. And then Knobloch out at the plate on a play that was scored 9-4-2 from Perez to Alfonso to Piazza for the 2nd out of the inning. Cook drops down and Martinez fouls it away. Strike 2.
When you get a pitching performance out of Roger Clemens like the Yankees are getting tonight, it's almost like Clemens says, guys, you can make all the mistakes you want to on offense. It doesn't matter.
Clemens has a World Series strikeout high. He has struck out 9. Previous high was 8 back in that Game 6, 1986. No decision in that famous 6-5 loss at Shea Stadium, and a roller off the bat of Mookie Wilson and through the legs of Bill Buckner. 2 on 2 out here and an 0-2 count on Tino Martinez as Cook tries to keep it a 5-run game. Dennis Cook battling kidney stones. Mets didn't know if he would be active for this series. Martinez reaches out, and exactly what Wallace was saying, floats one into left center for an RBI base hit. More of the same according to Dave Wallace, and it's 6-0 Yankees.
Off the end of the bat. Flat-footed swing. A flare to left center. And the Yankees increased their lead. And Dave Wallace did indeed sum up tonight's ball game as far as the Mets are concerned.
Now 2 on 2 out. And it is Jorge Posada, who's had a perfect night at the plate. Clunker off the end of the bat for Alfonso, and the flip to Abbott to send this game to the 9th inning. Another Yankee run. We go to the 9th. A 2-hitter being thrown tonight by Roger Clemens. Getting a little ahead of ourselves, aren't we? 6-0 Yankees. Well, Jeff Nelson takes over here in the 9th inning. Roger Clemens finished after 8 dominating innings. No runs, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts, no walks. Hit a batter. Here are the 9 strikeouts.
He was dominating tonight. Fastball, then the splitter. Fastball, the splitter. Fastball, the splitter. Fastball, the splitter. The splitter. That broke it up. The one thing that Roger did tonight, he stayed away from this fat spin slider. This is actually a pitch that we got warming up, but you can see how loosely wrapped that ball is. That is a slider that has gotten Clemens in trouble since he's been pitching for the Yankees. It's not a biting slider. Pitchers refer to it as a slider with quarter spin, and it's a very, very dangerous pitch.
The postseason so far, 6 games for Nelson. That misses with ball 1. Clay Bellinger in the game in left field as David Justice is finished for the night. Justice, by the way, not known for his glove work, made a nice sliding catch on a ball hit by Piazza back in the 6th inning. There's a strike, and it's 1-1. Ninth inning, 6-0. The Yankees lead, and that frisbee slider, strike 2. After the game, it's your late local news, or for those of you that want more post-game coverage, tune to Fox Sports Net on your local cable or satellite provider. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Alfonso off the end of the bat, a leadoff base hit. A floater hit for the Mets.
High slider that stayed in the strike zone. It stays right there, and that's really an appropriate term for that, Joe, a frisbee slider, because most of the time when Nelson throws it to right-handed hitters, Posada catches it about 6 inches outside. That's his effective one. He'll be tested here.
Crowd booing as Piazza steps in. Alfonso now with a 13-game hitting streak. Postseason games, that's alive with that hit. Piazza takes a strike. Both Alfonso and Piazza went up there with the idea of taking a strike, down by 6. Sounds logical. Doesn't always happen.
Well, not only that, but a different release point for Jeff Nelson after facing Roger Clemens through the first 8 innings of this game. They just want to see where the ball's coming from.
That's down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It's off the pole and a home run for Piazza. A 6-2 game as Piazza clangs the pole and left.
If nothing else, Bobby Valentine, even if the Mets don't win this game, he has gotten his 2 hottest hitters, Alfonso and Piazza, coming into the World Series back on track. Fastball inside. Awfully strong.
He just hit that flat-footed, didn't he?
Awfully strong.
Like he hit it flat-footed and down toward the trademark a little bit. Still able to muscle that ball halfway up the foul pole.
Man. You would never teach any hitter to hit like that.
Piazza, the 9th inning 2-run home run, and here's how it sounded.
Joey, I got it! Awfully strong.
Say that again. You would never teach a young kid to hit like that?
I mean, he doesn't use the lower part of his body. Rarely does. You could see it on that swing. That was all arms.
Ventura lines a base hit to center. And the Mets are coming to life. Now trailing by 4. Still nobody out.
Every Mets fan remembers that game. Trailing the Atlanta Braves 8-1. And that game was capped off by a 2-run
Mike Piazza home run off Terry Mulholland.
A number of things here. Roger Clemens threw 112 pitches on the night. He had only one complete game during the regular season, but he was in complete control here tonight. Joe Torre not wanting to run Clemens back out for the ninth inning goes to Jeff Nelson, usually reliable. Nelson has given up. The base hit to Alfonso, the home run by Piazza, hit by Ventura. And now, after having to work 2 full innings last night, Mariano Rivera warms up in the bullpen and will likely enter here in the ninth inning tonight. Opposing hitters were 3 for their last 58 against Clemens, going back to Game 4 of the Oakland series in the divisional round. He's gone after 8, and now Nelson's gone in the 9th. Before tonight's game about Mariano Rivera, asking him after 2 long innings last night if he would use him tonight. And he said, well, I'm not sure, but I know I have to win every game that I can, and we'll wait and see. He wasn't too high on the idea, but he has to do it here in the 9th inning after Nelson gives up 2, then a hit. The postseason numbers this season and in the career of Mariano Rivera are phenomenal. And he misses with ball 1. This is not a save situation, by the way. See the career postseason ERA for Rivera under half a run. 17 of 18 in save chances. Again, not a save opportunity now. 1 ball, 1 strike on Zeal. Zeal had the only 2 hits allowed by Roger Clemens tonight. So far is 4 out of 8 in the World Series. Strike 2.
That's the pitch that Rivera has developed this year to keep right-handed batters from diving out over the outside part of the plate. It's a fastball that stays on the same plane inside corner to right-handers.
Zeal gets into 1 to left field, sending Bellinger back at the wall to make the catch. 1 out. Zeal, who came so close to a home run in last night's game, again inches away as Bellinger was reaching at the top of the wall for the first out of the 9th.
You can look at Bobby Valentine's face and say, what does it take for Todd Zeal to hit a home run? Last night, hitting the crease in the straightaway position of left, and tonight perhaps that ball would have been out of here. Perhaps.
Relief in the Yankee dugout, a smile and frustration in the Mets dugout. Strike 1 on Agbayani.
One more look. Had Bellinger not been there, would this ball have been out? Maybe.
Might have been just like last night, right off the top of the wall.
Yeah.
Runner at first, 1 out. And that misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
One more look.
Strike 2 on Agbayani. You go back to last night's game. This was Zeal's shot in the 6th inning off the very top of the wall. Later on that play, Perez was out at the plate, 7-6-2 with a good relay throw from Derek Jeter. Still 1-2 on Agbayani.
That's the one thing that was not written about a lot As a matter of fact, I think I was remiss in not talking about it enough last night. That was a remarkably athletic play by Derek Jeter. And Bobby Valentine saying before the game, one of the better plays he's seen by a great athlete.
To the left side and through the left side. Agbayani a base hit.
The Mets are hoping for one more base runner. One more. And if they get one more, one swing of the bat could tie it. Lenny Harris, keep in mind, a very good bunter. Scott Brocious, even with the bag at third. Harris, a fast runner also. Obviously, if he does bunt, he would be bunting for a base hit.
Mariano Rivera was just warned by the third base umpire, Tim McClellan, to not wet his fingers while on the mound. Can blow into that pitching hand on a cold night, but can't wet him. And now with 2 on 1 out, Lenny Harris grounds it foul. If this score stays relatively the same, we'll take a look at the Merrill Lynch play of the game. And it's Roger Clemens and his dominating night on the mound. No runs, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts, no walks, 112 pitches. Lenny Harris tied up. It gets away from Posada. The runners move up to second and third. 0-2 on Harris.
Well, that takes the force away at second base. But it runs the count to 0-2 to Harris. A pass ball on Posada. Mariano Rivera not only tough to hit, he's tough to catch too.
Yeah, Posada may have been screened a little bit by the bat of Lenny Harris as he tried to check his swing. It looked like it came right between the line of sight from Posada to the baseball.
All time in the World Series, all time. The Yankees are 106-1 when leading after 8 innings. Go back to 1947. Rivera has the runner Agbayani hung up between second and third. Now coming to the plate and tagged out is Ventura. 2 out in the inning.
I'll tell you, that looks like a bad play, but that was a very good play to break for home by Ventura, because you take the routine play away. You involve the pitcher in an unusual play. That can only happen in the 9th inning. Derek Jeter gets Ventura at home. But think of how easy it would be for Rivera to check the runner back at third and throw out Harris at first base. You can see the runners. That's not confusion on the part of the Mets. You've got to concede an out, and you're conceding a tougher out by getting the pitcher involved in the play.
And in the end, the Mets lose nothing because Lenny Harris now takes second as they pay no attention to him. No stolen base, but it's second and third, 2 out, as it would have been had Rivera taken that ground ball off the bat of Harris and thrown out Lenny at first. The fielder's choice 1-6-2. And it's second and third, 2 out for Jay Payton with a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
That play, by the way, is a play that you can only use in the 9th inning. You'd never think about doing that any other time.
One and one, the count on Payton. Mets need one more base runner to have a chance. Second and third, 2 out. That's down the right field line in big trouble. Into the corner, it's gone. 3-run home run, Jay Payton, and it's a 6-5 Yankee lead. A 5-run 9th inning to make it a 1-run game, and it's 2 out, nobody on, with Abbott coming up. And now the tying run is indeed in the batter's box.
Jay Payton the other way. A 3-run home run. And how big does that off the end of the bat, broken bat hit by Tino Martinez in the bottom of the 8th inning look right now? At the time, seemingly insignificant. But one swing of the bat makes it very, very important.
Now 2 out, nobody on. Tying run at the plate, and Kurt Abbott takes a strike. Abbott's first at bat of the night. Strike 2. Big swing at a 93-mile-per-hour pitch, and the Mets are down to their final strike. Game over. Yankees win the first 2 games of the 2000 World Series. So the Yankees win last night, getting a run in the 9th inning to tie it, winning it in the 12th. And tonight it's the Mets making the late inning noise, at least to try to pick up some sort of momentum heading toward Game 3 back at Shea Stadium.
How about those tack-on runs by the Yankees? 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th, and 1 in the 8th. Huge.
A 5-run 9th inning falls a run short. And those late runs put on the board by the Yankees the difference. And Joe Torre had to go to his closer, Mariano Rivera, who made it interesting tonight. But in the end, the Yankees win it, a final of 6-5. This series will go to Shea Stadium with the Yankees leading 2-0. The final, a 6-5 win for the Yankees here in Game 2. The winner was Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens deserved the win here tonight with 8 fantastic innings. No runs, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts, no walks. But the bullpen made it interesting for the Yankees. This Subway Series, with all of the attention focused on these 2 New York teams at the end of the 2000 baseball season. And this series, for the moment, is finished at Yankee Stadium. That's how he started tonight, with Roger Clemens throwing a piece of the bat toward Mike Piazza down the first baseline. There was some good defense behind Clemens, but for the most part, he was in charge this evening. The Yankees coming up with 2 runs in the first, a run in the second, a run in the 5th, a run in the 7th, a run in the 8th, and then run in the bottom of the 8th inning, driven in by Tino Martinez on a 2-out flare hit, ends up the difference in the game. Mike Hampton struggled to find his groove early, and these Yankees now have won 14 consecutive World Series games. Their dominance continues on a night when Roger Clemens' dominance, coming off that 1-hit shutout in Game 4 of the American League Championship Series with 15 strikeouts, comes right back and follows it with his effort here tonight. 8 innings, 2 hits, and the story will be Clemens, both good and bad. The ugly with that scene in the first inning, and then the terrific pitching to get the victory here tonight to put the Yankees up 2-0. Let's go down to Keith Olbermann, who's with Roger Clemens. Keith.
Thank you, Joe. Roger absolutely dominant tonight, and then you had to go back inside and watch the 9th inning. Which was tougher?
Well, it got too close for comfort there towards the end. They were battling Mo extremely hard, and you know, Mo throws hard too, so they were able to get the head out on a few of my fastballs, and same thing with Mo.
What do you attribute this to? In the game last Saturday in Seattle, you were overwhelming. In the final game of the World Series last year, you were outstanding. Is there something about the game, the circumstances, the amount of rest? What is it?
It could be all of that. I had to calm down in the first inning. I think everything leading up for the entire week that I had to listen to, I I came off the field after the first inning, and I told a couple of the guys upstairs and just basically went off to a room by myself, said I've got to get control of my emotions and calm down. But I was, again, I had 3 pitches working. I think in the first inning, the guys upstairs said my split finger was over 90 again, and that might be a little bit too hard.
Tell me about the first inning so we know exactly what happened with the broken bat and Mike Piazza.
I just threw the broken bat in the head once it got to me this way, and I told Charlie, the umpire, that I didn't know Mike was coming out. I didn't think he was running because of foul ball, and I was going to sling it to our on deck circle towards the bat boy. And I guess it came close to him, and that's what happened. But again, that was my emotions, and I was so fired up, I had to just calm down.
Things seemed to calm down from that very quickly. Did you say something to Mike or have something said on your behalf to Mike?
I just told Charlie, the umpire behind the plate, and really I was just trying to curtail my emotions. I was pretty fired up.
Indeed. Roger Clemens, congratulations and many thanks. Joe, back to you.
All right, Keith, thank you, and our thanks to Roger Clemens. For Tim McCarver, Bob Brenly, Keith Olbermann, and Steve Lyons, Joe Buck, so long from Yankee Stadium. A 6-5 Yankee win. Stay tuned for your late local news, or for those of you that want more post-game coverage, tune to Fox Sports Net on your local cable or satellite provider. From Yankee Stadium, good night.